Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hi there, good afternoon. You're watching Your Stocks. I'm Mangla Malu. With me is Sumaira Abdi. This is the show where we answer all your stock queries. But as we do that, just before that, numbers flowing in thick and fast. This one from Dena Bank. The company's posted a loss yet again. Gross NPA has worsened quarter on quarter by about 70 basis points. So 22.7 is the number that we're looking at. That compares with 22. And the net loss has actually widened to about 722 crores. And that compares with a loss of 133 crores year on year. So we need to watch out for what exactly has happened. Perhaps the provisioning has increased just as it has in all the other banks as well. Gross NPA has worsened while the net NPA has improved. That tells you that perhaps the provisioning has increased, on account of which we are seeing that big bottom line hole on Dena Bank. Any other details that you have, Sumaira?
No, actually, that's about it for now. So in Q4, actually, we had seen the bank report its highest net loss ever, which was in excess of about 1,200 odd crores. This time around, the loss has narrowed a bit. So 721 is what we have. It's a loss nonetheless, but nevertheless, it has narrowed on a Q&Q basis. On a Y&Y basis, of course, it looks like a huge number. In terms of asset quality, you spoke about it. Gross NPA seen a worsening, and just a tad bit of worsening. So I guess at 22%, 22.7 isn't so much a worsening. You'd say that, you know,
22 itself is a huge number. So
at least it hasn't become worse. Provisioning at about 1,100 odd crores. I think what they had done on last quarter was close to about 2,000 crores. Right. So 1,100 is not too bad. Of course, on a Y&Y basis, it compares with a number of about 520 odd crores. So provisions were expected to remain elevated. Balance sheet growth has been a concern for them. And of course, asset quality was what everybody was looking at. And, you know, I think they won't be too disappointed because, I mean, at 22%, what do you do? Right.
All right. So we will try and get in some more details as and when the numbers do come out, the slippages, etc. Meanwhile, first up, let's take a look at all the top stories. The market is off the low point of the day, but unable to climb persistently, still hovering around that 11,400 mark for the Nifty. Banking heavyweights and Reliance Industries lead. Mid-cap index too outperforms.
Nifty Bank is the top gainer, led by corporate lenders. ICICI Bank, Axis and SBI lead.
Stellar listing for HDFC AMC. The stock lists at a 60% premium.
Uday Kotak speaks up against global proxy advisors after some global funds voted against Deepak Parikh's continuation as the HDFC chairman. Kotak says that global proxy advisors need to be regulated.
A big boost for India. Incorporated Parliamentary Panel on Commerce asks for immediate restoration of the practice of issuing LOUs and LCs, which were discontinued post the Punjab National Bank fraud.
All right, well, those are our top stories. Let's get started with your stocks. Gaurang and Prakash join in to answer all the stock queries coming in today. So, gentlemen, good afternoon to both of you. Our first question comes in from Avni Dwivedi, writes to us from Bihar. She says she holds 200 shares of Titagarh Wagons at 134 rupees. She's been holding on for 3 months. She's a medium-term investor and wants to know whether or not to remain invested, or what she should do. She's making a bit of a loss, actually, buying it at 134. Prakash, the stock is trading sub 100 now. Is there any reason for her to remain in this stock?
Actually, no. But this is a budget-friendly stock. It goes up before the budget, and the moment the budget is announced, it gets sold into. So since she's waited for this long, continue holding it. It might go to 110 zone. That's a stiff resistance there. If it goes there, she can book out there and have some minor loss. This is not the place to sell or book loss. She can hold there. Otherwise, this is budget-friendly stock.
All right, Gaurang, your view, budget-friendly or not?
It's not really a budget-friendly stock, and you know, gone are the days, to be very honest with you, when you used to see some meaningful moves on the railway-related stock. Yes, there is a big budget spend that is awaiting the Indian Railways, but unfortunately, the stocks don't reflect that. So first of all, no specific view, since we don't have a coverage. And after you take a knock of 20-25% on your capital, and if you still stay invested with a possibility of a small bounce back, I think it is waiting in vain, to be very honest. If the investor is wanting to take a hit, book a loss, and move on to something more meaningful with a not medium term, not a short term or a medium term, but a long term time horizon, and by definition is about 18 to 24 months, then I would suggest to move into Ashok Leyland.
All right, moving to Ashok Leyland. Meanwhile, some news on Hindustan Unilever. They've acquired an ice cream company. Not much details have been given. Vijay and Dairy's ice cream and frozen desserts business. I think Ananda is the name of the brand that they've acquired. They have been focusing on their foods portfolio. The amount is not mentioned. Neither are the financials of this business. As per the last deal that happened with Lotte and Havmor, that one was valued at around 1,000 crores. So it will be very interesting to see what are the details as far as this opportunity is concerned. Of course, it's pocket change for Hindustan Unilever, but interesting to know the direction that the company is taking for their ice cream and frozen desserts business, which is currently doing well for them with Quality Walls itself. But sticking to the FMCG space, we have a next query. Ranjani K. She writes to us from Lucknow. She wants to invest about 40,000 rupees in Britannia for the long term. Wants to know what the right time to enter the market is. Gaurang, a view on Britannia?
Well, so numbers unfold today, if I'm not mistaken.
The numbers have come, they're in line. 12.5% volume growth is what the company has posted.
I didn't have that information. Apologies for that. So I would say that an MNC FMCG company which has been growing leaps and bounds. The only thing, the business strategy, Mangalam, if you ask me, I would be keen to look into expanding their dairy product business, because I think that's where you can capture a larger market share. But on the other business verticals, extremely confident about scalability. So long term, definitely going by. Only thing is small amount and a larger stock identified, so maybe buy some now and add on dips. That should be the strategy.
So earnings coming through. Firstsource Solutions is the stock we're talking about. They've posted a weak set in Q1. The company has seen a pickup in revenue growth, but margins and profit have been disappointed. Actually, the stock down about 5%. Sanjeev Goenka, the chairman of Firstsource Solutions, now joins in. Mr. Goenka, good afternoon, sir. To begin with, could you give us a sense of what the constant currency growth has been like in Q1?
Hi. Well, I think the constant currency growth has been about 11.4%.
Okay. So, in any case, I think you had guided.
If you see what's more encouraging is that Sorry, your voice is breaking.
Go ahead with your answer, sir.
So I missed your question. I mean, the first one I got, then after that, your voice broke.
Okay, so I was saying in any case, you had guided for your constant currency growth to be on the higher end of, the industry average. So you think you can do better from here?
Well, I think we are definitely looking at a robust performance this year. If you see the EBITDA margins, they have also gone up by about 2.4 percentage points. And so I think revenue growths will be better compared to last year. Margins are better. I think our performance with clients is actually better. And both the healthcare and CRM business looks very good. Mortgages has actually grown by 25% this year. So that's a huge jump forward.
We take your point, sir.
All the businesses, all the sectors seem to be doing reasonably.
Right, we take your point on the margin decline, sir. But in the meanwhile, if you could tell a margin improvement year on year, but if you could explain to us what was the how do you explain the decline quarter on quarter, because 14.8 has now come down to 13.9, and what kind of margins can you do for this whole year?
Sorry, your voice is breaking completely. I'm so sorry, I couldn't catch the question.
What kind of margins can you post for FY19, sir? Because there was a sequential decline.
Well, I think this has been an outstanding quarter, because if you actually see, the PAT is up by 36% over the same period last year. I think the other quarters will also, the performance for the remainder of the year will be very decent, but I can't really say that we'll have 36% each quarter growth. But I think they'll be good. I think this year should be a much better year for us compared to last year.
So 60 to 80 basis points sort of improvement or 100 basis points sort of improvement on the margins this year?
Your stocks, we've been speaking with Mr. Sanjeev Goenka, the chairman of Firstsource, to try and get a sense of the FY19 outlook. Mr. Goenka, if you can hear us better now, sir, we were talking about margins. Is it more likely that you could see 100 basis points improvement this year, or could it still be in the range of 60 to 80?
Well, I think every effort is on to get to that kind of number. And so far, the first quarter has delivered. We're keeping our fingers crossed, and we're fairly confident of performance as the year goes on.
Right. Mr. Goenka, if you could tell us something about, how the growth came in from your top client, which accounts for about 25-27% of your revenue. We saw a decline in the fourth quarter due to a one-off. If you could tell us how that played out in the first quarter.
Well, I think there were a few very interesting things that happened in the first quarter. One is the sales pipeline sort of went up, and that's at about 450 million now. So that's a significant jump. We started working with Europe's largest utility provider, and that's gone off very well. The ramp up at Sky has happened very well, so that's contributing. There is a very strong wins coming in from large UK-based banks where discussions are on, work is on. That has helped us. So it's been, and the mortgages business has been 25% up this quarter. So the US market for mortgages seems to have revived. The healthcare business seems to be picking up. So I think all in all, almost all our businesses have sort of done better. And of course, some of them have contributed more.
So you've repaid, the company has repaid about $135 million term loan. So could you give us a sense of what is the debt that now remains?
The net long-term debt today stands at $20 million. And there is a $50 million working capital loan. So the company will become net long-term debt-free by within this year. And then all you have is just working capital. And there were certain investments that we had to do for our estate, for our big clients in CRM, where we had to invest upfront, and therefore we've taken a loan for that. But then as the revenues start ramping up, those loans will get repaid. So very soon we will be a completely debt-free company.
So you will maintain that 35-40% payout ratio in terms of dividend, right?
Well, as a significantly large shareholder, I'm going to make a case to the board for a larger payout, but it's eventually the board's call.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mr. Goenka, for joining in and giving us that outlook as far as your company is concerned. That was Firstsource indicating that perhaps this year will be a robust year for the company. Meanwhile, numbers coming in thick and fast again. Kaplan Point revenue growth of 23%, a net profit growth of almost 70%. That means the stock has spiked and spiked to the high point of the day. But we're answering queries, and we have Ms. Suman Gupta writing to us from New Delhi, holds 467 shares of Adani Ports at about 305 rupees for the last 1 year and 3 months. Long-term investor wants to know whether to hold or sell. Adani Ports reports its numbers today. Prakash, on the charts, how does it look? Especially given over the last couple of months, it has underperformed its other Adani peers, the likes of Adani Power, Adani Enterprises.
Well, so far looks okay because it has bounced from 360 zones, which are very strong support zones. If there is some kind of resistance closer to 420, and once it crosses there, maybe 440 is possible. I mean, she's into profit now, so continue holding it.
Gaurang, what's your take? Adani Ports?
Well, Sumaira, numbers front, I don't expect anything miracle to happen, at least today. And the thing is, no specific coverage, but we prefer a peer company, which is Gateway District Parks. We have a positive coverage over there, and we believe wealth could be created over there. Second point on the numbers today, as Mangalam was mentioning, I fear some amount of pressure because of the SEZ.
All right. Mr. Anand Upadhyay's query, he writes to us from Uttar Pradesh. holds about 50 shares of Sun Pharma at 580 rupees for the last 1 year and 5 months. Long-term investor wants to know whether to hold or sell. Prakash, pharmaceutical industries, what is happening in that sector? There are times, Sun Pharma is the one that Anand wants to know. There are times when, you know, the stock moves higher and we believe that a formidable bottom has been made. That is only until the next big accident from the US FDA.
Well, Sun Pharma has seen a high closer to 1200 zones, and then we saw a low closer to 450, less than somewhere closer to around 1/3 it came down. So what I mean, just it came down to 1/3 levels. Now, looks like at the lower level, there's a good base formation, and there pharma industry is looking that there is not much downside. If it's not much downside, two things could happen. It could go up or maybe move sideways. Looks like it should head from here. So this is not the place to sell, just continue holding it. Maybe if the market, if it turns around, then we will see a level of around 700 zones in Sun Pharma in the days to come. Continue holding it.
All right, remain invested. That's the advice. Garvit Chaudhary is on the line with us from Indore. He has investments in Graphite India. Hi, Garvit. How can we help you?
Thank you. I have a query for Graphite India. I have Graphite India at the rate of 855. I have a medium-term view. So please, if you can suggest if I shall hold it, will I get a better rate further or shall I book?
Okay, well, the stock is already at a 52-week high. Reported earnings just a short while back. And Prakash, I don't know if you heard us, but the numbers looked exceedingly good. So net profit has come in at about 950, 960 odd crores. Revenues are topping close to about 2,000 odd crores. Margins have come in at 73%. So it looks like the good run for these graphite companies still continues. For somebody who's already making a sizable amount of money, should he remain invested?
Yes, certainly, because I like the consolidation between 950 and 1,050. When you see the consolidation, and it's given a breakout there. So even if it just dips now, maybe because sell-on news things happen, those are buying opportunities. I would say very strong support on graphite exists around 1,000 zones. Continue holding it. Who knows where it goes? And when stock trades at a new high, we normally say that no high is high, why put a ceiling? So continue holding it.
All right, no high is high. Why put a ceiling? Continue holding graphite. Meanwhile, watch out for M&M. That stock is suddenly taken off. Currently, is sitting with a gain of about 1.5%. Majority of that has come by in just the last few seconds. Mahindra & Mahindra from the Nifty pack is the one which is suddenly spiked up. Along with that, we have Yes Bank too, which has moved to the high point of the day. But Mr. Chaitanya writes to us from Ahmedabad, holds about 5,000 shares of Firstsource Solutions at 65 rupees for the last 1 year. A long-term investor wants to know whether to hold or sell. He is making a fair amount of money. Prakash, we heard the management fundamental outlook looks pretty good, but post results the stock is down about 4%. What do the charts say?
Well, why worry about it? Actually, it's trading closer to support. The support exists somewhere closer to 70 zones. So 60, even if it does come down, I won't worry about it since he's a long-term investor. So continue holding it if you're a long-term investor.
All right, remain invested. JBM Auto is the other one that's on our radar. Mr. Jiten Vora is on the line with us. Hi, sir. How can we help you?
फाइन मैम मेरे एक्चुअली मुझे इतना इंग्लिश नहीं आता है आप हिंदी में
बताइए आप जैसे कंफर्टेबल हैं आप बताइए
मैं हिंदी में कंफर्टेबल हूँ
बिल्कुल बताइए
मेरे पास जेबीएम ऑटो के अभी जो आफ्टर बोनस और स्प्लिट के बाद 2014 में जो स्प्लिट और बोनस जो हुआ उसके बाद मेरे पास अभी 700 शेयर है तो इसके हिसाब से मैंने जो डिवाइड करके मेरी जो कॉस्टिंग आती है वो 16-17 रुपीज के आसपास आती है और अभी भी मेरे पास 700 शेयर है मेरे पास तो मुझे अभी आगे क्या करना है उसमें
ओके एक तो मुबारक हो आप जैसे इन्वेस्टर्स हैं एक्चुअली जिनसे लोगों को भी कुछ सीखना चाहिए कि अच्छी कंपनी ढूंढें उसमें बने रहें और उसको बार बार डाउट ना करें इंसिडेंटली प्रकाश there's some news flow also they're rolling out some new buses etc which is why we're seeing a bit of interest in that stock today but for somebody who is been a textbook investor for 10 years now should he book part profits should he remain no
अच्छा है कि आप ने होल्ड किया और बहुत अच्छा मुनाफा बना आपकी कॉस्ट तो नेग्लिजिबल हो गई तो ये कंटिन्यू होल्ड कीजिए ऑल टाइम हाई हमने 600 के ऊपर देखा है और फिर 300 देखा आपको ऐड करना चाहे तो ऐड भी कर लीजिए बढ़िया स्टॉक है और हिंदी की बात कर रहे हैं तो गौरंग शाह से अच्छा हिंदी कोई बोलता ही नहीं
So actually we'll go across to Gaurang himself. Gaurang, apart from your investment advice, he also wants to listen to your Hindi. So go ahead.
पहले तो प्रकाश गाबा जी का मैं धन्यवाद और शुक्रिया अदा करूंगा कि हमारी हौसला अफजाई का इतने बड़े बड़े शब्दों में उन्होंने विश्लेषण किया है। तो वोरा जी, जहाँ तक आपका निवेश है, तो जैसे प्रकाश जी ने बताया है वैसे आप कर सकते हैं। हम तो आपको ज्यादा यहाँ पर राय नहीं दे सकते क्योंकि इस कंपनी पर हमारी कवरेज नहीं है। लेकिन अगर आप मुनाफा बांधना चाहते हैं और ऑटो एंसिलरी में ही निवेश करना है तो हमारी कवरेज मदरसन सुन्नी पे है। ये काफी लंबे समय से 300 के नीचे कतरा रहा था, लेकिन जब बाहर निकला तो हमें लग रहा है कि संभवता ये है कि 365 और 430 तक के लक्ष्यांक लंबी अवधि के नजरिए से आपको मुकम्मल हो सकते हैं अगर आप समय दे तो इस पर्टिकुलर निवेश में।
ओके, मिस्टर वोरा, आपके लिए फिर राय यही है कि जेबीएम में आप बने रहें। अगर आपको और इस सेक्टर में एक्सप्लोर करना है तो मदरसन सुमी भी आप देख सकते हैं।
राइट, सो